Hey, there's no need to stress. Here's your teacher tip in 5 minutes or less. I'm Educator Barnes, and today I would like to talk to you about deposits and withdrawals. So let's think about the bank. For our bank accounts, we want to make sure we're putting in more money, deposits, than we are taking out, a withdrawal. In the classroom, we withdraw from our students when they get a constant stream of negative feedback. Sit down. We don't sharpen our pencils at that time. How many times do I have to tell you this? No one did their homework tonight? All of those are withdrawals, withdrawals, withdrawals. Now, I'm not saying that we don't address student behavior, but we have to have a balance between positive praise and shouting out what students are doing well versus the critical feedback we give them. Because that's how we build strong relationships. And we know strong relationships are key to helping us connect with students. And that in turn helps us teach them the academic knowledge that we are supposed to get from our brains into their brains. So what are other ways that we can connect with students and make those deposits besides just staying outside the door and greeting them in the morning or being there at the end of class or the end of the day and saying goodbye? One way to do that is a weekly email. You can simply take your class roster and each week take 5 students that you're going to shout out. And if I was a secondary teacher, and I was a secondary teacher for many years, and I actually did this strategy, I would pick a day of the week. So it may not be the day that I send the email where I would just take my roster, I would write that down, and then I would get that email ready and I would schedule it to go out on Friday around 4 p.m., 4:30. And that would go to my whole listserv. And throughout the school year, every student was shouted out at least 1 or 2 times. The other thing that was important to me was making sure I was making those deposits with the families as well and helping them connect. So I would also include in that weekly newsletters questions like, ask your child about their project. Ask your child to share about the paper they wrote. And that's another way to give some positivity because you're allowing those parents and caregivers to have conversations with their students as well. What else can we do? It could be shouting out a student and having them come up and teach a concept that they know really well. Sometimes some of your loudest students are some of your students that get concepts quickly and they're just sitting there bored. So that's why they're talking to their neighbor. So you can have them come up and be the teaching assistant for that day and share some information as well. The other thing that you can do is get kids on the announcements. So if your school has a setup where there's video announcements or announcements in the morning, you can submit a student's name to be read across the announcements and shout it out for something positive that they have done. And the other thing that you can do globally, if you don't have time to get to every single student individually, is start the class with things that went well. You don't always have to start with, we have half the class that didn't do their homework. Start the class with some glows and end the class with some glows. So these are a few ways that we can make sure we're putting more deposits in the students instead of the withdrawals that we're taking out. And come back next time for another teacher tip in 5 minutes or less.